scrum down is back with Bradford versus Wigan. And Wigan in 1992 means this man. 3 days into the new year, Martin Offiah's 5 months away from the public gaze was emphatically over, and having spent the best part of $500,000 to prize him from witness, Wigan wasted no time getting him on the field and extra fans on the terraces. But conditions more suited to agriculture than acceleration didn't make the going easy or the comeback. Wigan's demanding following will expect more today.
He trained very well with the side last week, which he didn't do the week before, and he was just a complete stranger in our side last week. But he's a little more familiar this week, and you know, I'm expecting a couple of tries from him today, or at least a try.
Well, he'd hardly claim the credit, but that victory in Offiah's debut took Wigan back to the top. A 7th successive win today could lift them 2 points clear. Despite their league position, Bradford are also on a good run. 4 wins out of 5 before Tuesday's surprise defeat by Hull here at Odsal. And the main reason must be Peter Fox, who's marched back into the ground where he reigned supreme a decade ago and applied one of the sport's shrewdest coaching brains to the task of halting a slide towards unthinkable relegation. The Odsal Maestro's second coming simplified life for David Hobbs. Freed from the boss's responsibility, he's back to his best at what he does best, driving Northern forward on the field. Another key man today, Roger Simpson, released by Ian Wilkinson's return from injury at fullback to add penetration at stand-off, because improvements are still needed.
There's quite a lot to do actually, John. The lads have rallied round. We're getting most of the lads back from injuries, and Gerald Cordell is the one today who has had a knee operation, and he's coming back solidly for the first time. Perhaps a week rushed, but for one particular reason.
Well, he's rung the changes today. Only 5 men keep their positions from Tuesday. Gerald Cordell has finally shaken off his knee trouble to make his first appearance of the season. Tony Anderson is back from a groin strain, replacing Steve McGowan, who's hurt his groin. And Glenn Barraclough's preferred to Brian Noble in a reshuffled pack. Wigan keep the team which beat Wakefield 22 last week, which means Offiah continues to keep David Myers, the league's second top try scorer, on the bench, while Kelvin Skerritt, the former Bradford favourite in the Wigan engine room, returns to Odsal. And here's a man who would be in that lineup but for injury, Andy Platt, receiving the Great Britain International Player of the Year trophy, presented in memory of the former Bradford favourite Ernest Ward, and it's his old friend Trevor Foster making the presentation. And talking of internationals, you can win the jersey worn by your favourite Great Britain player against Papua New Guinea last autumn in our jigsaw competition later. We'll also have Wakefield against Huddersfield in the Cup and Castleford versus Salford in the League. But first, the match that last season ended Bradford 31, Wigan 30. On price and repeat today, John Hell.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, I had the pleasure of being at that game, and quite simply, it was the best match I saw all season. David Watkins is with me in the commentary box as always. David, Bradford are surely going to raise their game against Wigan as they always do.
Well, that's right. They disappointed in midweek. They obviously want a good roll. They know again against the prospective champions, because some people had the audacity to write them off at the start of the season, but their injuries alone show that Wigan are still the #1 side to win.
Wigan in their cherry and whites, and Bradford Northern their white strip, and a little chip ahead there, which goes straight into the hands of Frano Botica. Offside given against Bradford Northern. And what a great sight it is to have Martin Offiah back in First Division Rugby League here. He's scored those 24 hat-tricks, but he's out to break his duck here at Odsal today. He's never scored on this ground. But David, it's marvellous to have Martin Offiah back.
Well, it is really. I mean, he is without any shadow of doubt at all the best finisher in Rugby League football. He's probably the fastest man as well in the game. And therefore to have him back now in contention, obviously, for this summer's tour as well, means well for British Rugby League.
Botica has scarcely put a foot wrong since he arrived, with a terrific reputation as an All Black. Very distinctive kicking style now. Chips. And, didn't miss by much, did it? But miss it did. From acting half-back, it goes to Paul Medley. Barraclough, who's preferred today to Brian Noble. It's a rare opportunity for Glenn Barraclough, who gets rave notices every time he plays in the A-team here. Ian Wilkinson trying to run the ball out from full back, and good to see him back as well. And penalty for Bradford now. Wilkinson had a stress fracture of the fibula. Referee today comes from Widnes and is Stuart Cummings. First man up this time is John Hamer, who breaks the ranks. That's a tremendous effort, and he was looking for Barraclough on his shoulder, just unable to supply the ball. And this looks better from Bradford as Neil Summers goes from scrum half. Craig Richards comes storming into the attack. He had an outstanding game in the corresponding match last season. David Hobbs, very much the playmaker in the Bradford pack, and he squeezes this pass into Roger Simpson. Simpson has been moved from full-back to try and inject a bit of pace at half-back. Hobbs, along the line it goes with Wilkinson, and now Medley trying to get on the outside, as he always tries to do. He prefers that right touch line. Barraclough with the ball inside for Hamer, who started this tilt. And a fire in there to help out with the tackling. On the last tackle, Hobbs chips through, and it's well taken by Sean Edwards for Wigan, but a nice lively start by Northern.
It certainly was, and they've used their forwards extremely well. They moved the ball on the outside. They are big, strong forwards, and they've really made it tough for Wigan in these early stages.
They certainly are big, strong forwards indeed. You've got David Hobbs at 16 stone, John Hamer 15 stone 7, Craig Richards 16 stones. No lightweights in this pack. And they're pinning Wigan into their own 25. Last tackle. Wigan have made no progress with the first 5. Wigan with Gregory's boot trying to get downfield. Good kick it was too, fielded by Wilkinson. Knocks away the first man, gets away from the second as well. Spirited stuff.
Well, he's certainly a strong man, is Wilkinson, and when he takes the ball and comes forward like that, to knock off 2 or 3 tacklers of the calibre of Wigan says much for him.
Here's another penalty for Bradford Northern. Foul was on Roger Simpson. Bradford were, in fact, the only side to avoid defeat by Wigan in the whole of last season in the league. So this is encouraging for Bradford. They need a good start, of course. They were surprisingly beaten at home by Hull in midweek after their recent good run. Hamer, he's been in good form. This time they go left, and Hobbs tries to get Medley in, and the ball put to ground, and that was a knock-on. Spotted by referee Cummings. And it will be a Wigan put in inside their own 25 for Andy Gregory to feed the scrum, and for Botica. Still they can't get outside that white line. Edwards. There's nobody there. Well, the idea wasn't bad from Kelvin Skerritt if there'd been a wingman in sight.
Well, that was quite incredible, but if you remember from the first move of that game, Botica had come well in field to take the ball. Suddenly when Edwards come to the right-hand touchline, then of course, and Skerritt threw that pass out into thin air.
Well, they'll have to boo him here because he was a Bradford player, of course. Now it's Roger Simpson. Surely he won't get very far here. Hampson it was who came up to do the tackling. Darryl Shelford. Still they look for the first points of the day. Craig Richards, all is 6'2", and now David Hobbs. He's another 6-footer. That's good play. They're going to score the first try. Bradford here. Paul Medley, as he's done so often for Bradford Northern, takes them on and beats them.
Well, the pressure has been relentless, but it was a superbly timed pass Took on the outside by Medley. There aren't many second rows faster than this guy. What a great start for Bradford Northern.
Certainly is. Paul Medley, try number 7 for him. His last 2 were scored as a centre, and he's so strong he can play all over the place.
Well, they played really well. They really tore into this Wigan side to start with. They've moved the ball. They haven't kept it too tight. And as a result of it, means the big forwards are running on the outside, and that's caused Wigan a lot of problems to start with. A great start for Bradford.
It was surprising to see a gap like that open in the Wigan defence.
Well, I think it was inevitable, John, because they started to move the ball on the outside, and Hobbs put a superbly timed pass outside the man, and he slipped in defence then as they came up to tackle him, and Medley's speed took him all the way over.
That's what David Hobbs has to do to make it 6-0. He angles the kick. Oh, he's angled it beautifully as well. And that's a cracking start for Northern, 6-0.
Well, what a superb kick that was. Captain's part, they say. He made the try. It was his superbly timed pass. Just watch now when he goes across here. He takes the ball out, draws the man, but really puts Medley on the outside. The defence started to come inside. Medley went on the outside there. There was very little hope to catch him. He's strong enough and fast enough to go all the way.
So Wigan inside, halfway inside their own half. Martin Dermott making useful ground. Cowie felt the force there of a 3-man tackle with Barraclough and Hamer involved. Some more good tackling, and in fact the penalty is awarded against Bradford's Carl Fairbank this time.
Well, I don't think there's a tougher or rougher forward in rugby league than Carl Fairbank. He puts 100% into everything he does. His tackling and his work throughout a game has to be seen to be believed.
There's been a lot of Wigan pressure, and you feel that it must pay off at some stage. Skerritt leads the charge. Dermott, oh, this is a try. This must be a try, and it's beautifully taken by Billy McGinty, and they really prized Northern open.
Well, they went behind 6 points early on, but it's been relentless pressure since then, and it's still this persistence to move the ball on the outside. McGinty now on the outside of the defence, and his momentum carries him over.
Yes, Billy McGinty would not be stopped there by Ian Wilkinson's despairing dive. He's a very useful player, McGinty. They took him from Warrington, where he's been for a number of years, and he's fitted in well.
He has, when you're running with all this pack, when this team plays, the total awareness of the Wigan side, you can see it all the time. They are thinking, the teamwork is there, they move the ball on the outside all the time, and make it very difficult to defend against when they're really on the rampage, and they certainly have been for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
And that's 6 points all from the boot of Bottica. So it's even Stephen.
We said about pressure, we said about putting the ball on the outside. Martin McDermott's pass, the run round with Cowie, a long ball out again, so it's getting people running on the outside all the time. If you take it at pace, and McGinty did, there was no one going to stop him, and he scores near the post.
Hamer very much the willing workhorse of this pack. Hobbs the creative one. Now Tony Anderson, who's fleet-footed, as he's proved over the years with Halifax and Oldham. Given no room there, however. So Hobbs will lob a simple kick upfield. Very good kick too. It's angled beautifully, but Hampson just keeps it in play and sets Bottica going. He ran into 16 stones worth of David Hobbs.
Well, that was a sensible kick, brought it right down to the touch, and meant that Wigan had to run it out, and this is what Bradford now have to do. They have to try and contain him up in this half, so they have the opportunity themselves then to start running at the Wigan side.
Halfway through this first half, and Joe Lydon has made a break here, and he's got Bottica streaking down that right wing, and Bottica's chip in field, chased by Sean Edwards, who's onside, and this could be another Wigan score if he picks it up and wriggles his way in. That's a spectacular score, and a very unusual score for Wigan and for Sean Edwards.
They just never know when they're beaten to Wigan. This is again a move initiate their own half. Superb play here by Lydon because he goes round the man on the outside. A beautifully timed pass. Now Boddicker comes down, see his way ahead, stop, but he notices Edwards coming up like a steam train in the middle of the field. Now Edwards had the good sense here to make sure he collected the ball. The defence overran it and Edwards forced his way over.
The league's top try scorer, Shaun Edwards. Here's Boddicker to extend Wigan's lead. 12 points to 6 then. And there was so much to admire in that, the awareness of Boddicker, the following up of Edwards, and although Bradford were slightly unlucky, Caudle missed the ball when he was attempting to fly kick it.
What has been amazing really is that they came here, they went 6 points behind in the early stage of the game, but they've maintained their sort of level of commitment to Wigan. They've still done the things they like doing best, moving it on the outside, and they've really come back into the game now and have taken the lead.
And they've brought Ian Lucas on in place of Neil Cowie, and here go Wigan again. They're rampant at the moment, and Bradford have all on to hold them. And they'll try and get that ball away for a fire down the left touchline. He's now coming infield. I think he's smelling a try. Is he going to get one? Here's Gregory's chip through. Oh, they must score surely here, unless Wilkinson bravely dives on it. Well, Marchant got there too. Otherwise, it would have been a third Wigan score from the dexterity of Andy Gregory.
Well, that's right. Suddenly everybody waiting for the ball to go out along the line. They've done it so many times, lulls them into that sole sense of security, and then Gregory chips it through the middle. There just isn't anybody there. It was only Tony Marchant's aliveness really to come across and fly kick it away that saved yet another try for Wigan.
Now Afaya's got the ball again. And once more, he finds Barraclough an obstacle. And penalty given on Afaya's behalf by referee Cummings.
Well, just watch that. I mean, they took each other head on here. It wasn't that, it was the dumping down here now, which the referee didn't really like. Just coming in bang there as well at the time, and quite rightly so. It was the wrong place to do it, and the referee spotted it.
That's not a nice one, but Caudle's under it. Afaya was there with him, and Caudle beats him, and he'll have relished that moment. And he takes him on, Gerald Caudle. He's been waiting months for this tilt. It's his first full game of the season, and Caudle wanted to have a right old go. He is fearsome.
Well, a good catch and take by Gerald Caudle there. The only thing one can criticise about that, I suppose, in going up the touchline, of course, it was on the first play of the ball, the result of which now he really has given Wigan the opportunity to have the ball out of this scrum.
Yes, I think he just fancied it so much now, and he's been waiting, itching for that chance, hasn't he, for months?
Well, I think he really got himself in a good position. He ran round a fire which caused a great delight from the crowd, and that obviously gave him the incentive to try and keep going.
Here now Wigan once more, just outside that Bradford 25. Miles and Edwards. And Gregory, this looks dangerous again. Well, certainly the pass wasn't very good. Well, the referee said play on. I thought that was a knock on, but it's not, and Paul Medley's going to get Bradford's second try and his second. Extraordinary decision by the referee.
Well, that was definitely, without any shadow of doubt at all, a knockdown then from that try position. And the referee has given the try even after consulting the linesman. I find it quite amazing. It'll be interesting to see now when we watch this play back. It's Gregory now puts the ball up, but yes, I mean, it did. He did certainly got his hand to it, but he did pick it up, and being the professional he is, he looked to see first of all, suddenly realised it was still on, and he went. And this, as I said earlier, very few can outstrip this man anyway. When he's got a clear run, no one's going to stop him.
It all looked so good for Wigan there with the build-up, and Andy Gregory's adventure backfired. Hobbs has the chance to bring Bradford level when they least expected it, because Wigan were running them ragged. It's not a good kick, and Wigan retain the lead, but only by 2 points now. Seems strange not to see Brian Noble out there in the middle performing on Bradford's behalf. He's out of this one today. Glenn Barraclough getting a rare chance. Marchant. They've gone no more than 5 yards here. Through 3 tackles. But that is the hooter, and it's half-time at Odsal. And a very good half indeed, with Wigan leading by just 2 points. Some controversial moments, certainly. And it's all to play for in what promises to be an excellent second half. 2 tries apiece, both by Paul Medley for Bradford Northern, along with a goal from David Hobbs. And for Wigan, the try scorers were Billy McGinty and Sean Edwards. There have been 2 goals from Frano Botica. It's Bradford Northern 10, Wigan 12. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Odsal as Wigan 12-10 in the lead here against Bradford Northern take the field. It gives us an opportunity to hear from the former Great Britain captain, Brian Noble, who's with Nick.
Brian, it must have taken a lot out of Bradford that first half, because you were defending most of the time, and now they have to carry on and come back at Wigan.
Well, Wigan definitely had the territorial advantage in the first half, and we've got to pick ourselves up the second half. It's only 2 points in the game, 2 good tries by Meadows, and it could go either way, this fixture.
The danger is, though, that the Northern legs will start to tire towards the end after all that effort of defending.
Yeah, it does take a lot of juice out of you, does the defensive side of the game, but the professional players, the fit, it could go down to the wire. The last 10-15 minutes could be the telling time of the game.
31-30 again?
I hope not. Mark could stand it.
Brian, thanks very much indeed. John?
There's a good phrase, down to the wire. Here are the statistics of the first half. Bradford 3 scrums, Wigan took 6. Neither one against the head by either hooker. And Bradford conceding 7 penalties, Wigan just 3. And look at that, only 6 errors so far in the match, only 2 by Bradford Northern. That probably says something about the amount of time they had the ball, mind you.
Well, and the other thing is this, that there aren't many handling errors because the ball has been moved about quite a bit. Wigan have taken a lot of it. Bradford's tackling has had to be very sharp. It really has been a first-class game, this first half.
Nice conditions for it too. It's reasonably soft underfoot. And congratulations to Bradford Northern for having the foresight to cover their ground with plastic sheeting over the weekend to prevent against the frost. They didn't want this one postponed, and that £1,000 was well invested. Wilkinson, only 2 points in it, and Bradford and Wigan matches tend to be close. Remember last season 1 point separated the sides here, then they drew at Central Park.
Well, you see the difference in tactics. Wigan were kicked off back to Bradford. They were down their own half. Gregory has straight away kicked and put the pressure back on Bradford. Despite them having the ball, they are still holding them there. Now Hobbs is doing likewise, and that's what he's going to do a lot more of, I feel, to get Bradford out to their own half and to play it in Wigan's half.
Botica has come in field to play his part in this move.
I think the notice difference is that when Wigan pass the ball, it comes outside very wide. 1, 2 men, 3 men. So all the time you're running on the very outside.
Here he goes. First time for Martin to fire. He's got past Wall. He can't get past the second, but he throws it inside. The referee says play on. There's going to be a score, is there? Yes! Sean Edwards scores after Martin to fire's break. So at least the fire will feel he's played his part now.
Well, his first real running opportunity, and he scorches on the outside. Now he's going to be about to be caught because he won't let go, Will Simpson. He had the good sense to throw it infield. This man is quite incredible. He reads the game so well. He read that situation. Medley goes with him. Edwards get there. He definitely scored.
Well, Sean Edwards is on try number 22 now and stretching his lead at the top of the try scorers charts. And he was up against a quick man there in Medley who tried to knock the ball clear with his boot. Can Botica convert? No, he can't. And the scoreline remains Bradford Northern 10, Wigan 16.
Gene Miles here, the ball goes up to a Fire. Now a Fire sees his opportunity, he has room on the outside for the first time. He leaves Cordle for dead here because he couldn't even get to him. Simpson did remarkably well. Hung on in, tried to drag him down, but a Fire had already drawn Wilkinson in your picture. The ball now is in field. Edwards, again there. Medley a yard or two behind him, but it's his controlled run up here, but it's underneath the defence of the foot, and Edwards gets his hand to it.
Gregory. Skerritt. The tackle on him by Barraclough. Wigan again look menacing. They do everything at pace. Well, they're doing it at pace again here now. That's Lydon. The ball inside is fielded okay, but they were unable to keep the momentum going. But this once again does look dangerous for Bradford Northern. Edwards there. Kick ahead, which is fielded for Bradford by Hobbs. Good catch by him. And he'll look to open them up for another go for Gerald Cordle. Tackled it by Lucas. There are 25 minutes left in the match and 6 points separating the sides. Oh, that's a bad place to spill the ball from Bradford's point of view, and this could be a critical moment in the match. They could have an overlap here on the right. Well, they would have had, but Bradford managed to fall on the ball. Fairbank, this time it was seen as a knock forward, and it will be a scrum.
But he did read that well, because there again was another example of what Wigan do. They bring everybody in, then suddenly spin it out quickly. The man, they always say, the man on the outside has a bigger and better vision of the game. Move it out wide, you can see what's happening. They were doing that then. Fortunately for them, Fairbank knocked it down for Bradford, that is, and it stopped the whole thing going forward.
Two changes to be made, and David Myers on the far side, and Brett Eatey, the Kiwi, are coming on. Gregory has gone off, and Wilkinson has gone off. Well, Wilkinson has tried really hard in this match. Bradford might just miss his positional sense at full-back. Wigan have the ball. Again, they look menacing, and it's fizzing through the hands for Clark. Trying to get his man Myers in with his first touch of the ball. He couldn't, but he's kept his feet and stays in play. Clark again featured in the move. Betts. And a roar goes up from the Wigan fans. They sense that this is the moment they could kill off Bradford. No more than a couple of yards from the line. Absolutely imperative from Bradford's cause that they don't concede a try here. Sean Edwards was trying to wriggle through. He's got 2 tries already. Oh, and slick work, and they won't stop Dennis Betts. And that might be good enough for Wigan.
All done with clinical precision. The ball comes out again. Everybody knows exactly where to fit in the jigsaw. Betts' strength and perseverance takes him over despite 3 defenders.
Top try scoring forward in the game at the moment, really, Dennis Betts. That's his 14th this season. And Botica looks to kick his second out of 5 attempts, and this time he is successful. And Wigan stretch themselves into what could prove an unassailable lead at 22-10. Well, once more, Sean Edwards figured in that move, and he really is having a purple patch. He's scored 14 tries in his last 14 matches, and if that isn't a message to Malcolm Reilly, I don't know what is. It's Paul Gratian, 18 stone of him, that comes on to replace Craig Richards. Son of Jeff, of course, a famous name in rugby league.
He's certainly as big as Dad, anyway.
Oh, the feed him good steak and kidney puddings were there. Oh, Wigan knock on. That was uncharacteristic. This might be Bradford's chance, and the 2 involved there are Steve Hampson and Brett Eatey. Eatey having only just arrived on the pitch.
Little uncharacteristic then to drop a ball in that position.
Well, having just said Wigan might be in an unassailable lead, Bradford have surely got a chance from this. And Penalty is given to Bradford Northern. They must run it and try and catch Wigan out here, as Fairbank does. Held up no more than a yard out, and another penalty awarded for Bradford. Wigan tend to do this when they're in trouble.
Some say it's the professional foul, I wonder.
No more than a couple of yards from that Wigan line. A third penalty in a row awarded by referee Cummings to Bradford Northern. Wigan will feel they're taking the steam out of the situation. Can they take the steam out of Medley? Yes, they can, and he loses the ball. And a fourth penalty is awarded to Bradford Northern.
Well, I couldn't see that one. He said he snatched it. I thought he dropped it, but nonetheless, it's 4 penalties. Quite an incredible situation, this.
But no tries, not as yet. Gratian, I don't think he's going to go far at the moment. And they didn't give a penalty away on the first tackle. So they come down the right-hand side with Hamer. They urgently need a try to Bradford, and Hobbs, he's thrown it straight to a Wigan player. And that really, oh dearie me, there's trouble now, off the ball. Probably frustration. Bradford really had such a good chance of scoring then, and they've fallen foul of themselves. Referee and touch judges are all in a huddle together. Kelvin Skerritt might be getting a word. Paul Medley might as well. What did I do, sir? Well, whatever he did, it looks as though he might be getting a card of some sort. Referee Cummings fingering in his pocket, and yes, away go Paul Medley and Kelvin Skerritt to spend 10 minutes chatting about it on the touchline, and play will restart with a scrum. Here goes Iti. He scored in both matches against them last season, Wigan. Still Bradford have their chance. Still they can't breach that Wigan line. And who's going to get it this time? It is the big lad Gratian, who's never scored a try. He and Lucas have a little eyeball to eyeball. A few gaps there, are there? Hobbs, he's got to find a better pass, and it wasn't taken, and the chance has gone once more. And you feel that if Bradford can't find a way through in situations like that, they never will.
Well, that's right, but they have persevered virtually all afternoon, despite the fact that Wigan's defence is one of the best in rugby league, in coming short and coming back inside, and that's all that really done. Every time they try to move it out wide, the pass hasn't been good enough, and it really hasn't put too much pressure on the defence on the outside.
Here comes a chance, maybe. Oh, and Hampson's made an excellent break, and he's looking for a fire inside of him. Here goes Martin, a fire. This could be it, could it? No, he's spread the ball to Edwards. Edwards to Myers. Myers trying to break the ranks, and a fire. He's going to score his first try for Wigan. That's the one he wanted.
Hampson's excursion into the line was timed perfectly, but a fire changed his direction of running to come inside him and draw the defence across. Edwards realises that there is a chance on here and backs up as he always does. Myers now changes the whole course of direction, comes back inside, draws the defence, and a fire persistently stayed with them, caught it on the outside and celebrates his first try at Odsal.
I think Wigan are out of sight now, and confirming their status as the #1 side. And Frano Botica's kick merely extends that theory and extends the lead, 28-10.
Youngsters take note. This is superb running on the outside, but always aware now of people. Now, if Fire does the right thing to keep Simpson on the back, backs up. It's backing up yet again, you see. Edwards there again there, but he stops, draws the man again. Myers comes in, but a Fire, instead of just stopping still after passing, goes back on the outside and completes a magnificent move.
And he's put the record straight, his first ever try in this Odsal Stadium. Here's a chance for Bradford. Can Marchant use his pace to break through? He's coming up on the blind side, and Fire loses it right on the line, and this must be a chance for Bradford. Surely now, surely Simpson. Yes, it must be. He's in. It's a try for Bradford Northern and for Darryl Shelford.
Martin Afire won't be happy with that, because when that pass was given out to him, that ball was put to him, actually, it gave really Wigan, Bradford, the opportunity to move the ball out wide.
Hobbs, very difficult kick. That's wide. But Bradford, some consolation for them, have their third try of the match. It's 14-28. A long way to go for David Hobbs and co. Simpson to Hobbs to try and release Gratian. And it won't be long before Messrs Medley and Skerritt re-enter the fray, and they'll have been champing at the bit. A Bradford penalty now, and they are back on. Medley is back on, and Neil Cowie is going to come on. There's Medley. Neil Cowie, who only played about the first quarter of an hour, comes back on, rather than Kelvin Skerritt. Well, Bradford could still make it interesting if they got another score. They've got themselves up to the 20-point mark. Hobbs, yes, the little kick through was on there, and coming up on the blind side is Tony Marchant. What a good score for Bradford Northern. That is an intelligent kick by Hobbs, and Marchant swoops.
Well, what might have been. This is the first real time that they've tried to do anything other than charge at the defence. A superbly timed kick behind, everybody turning round except Bradford, who were going forward, and Marchant scores a beauty.
Tony Marchant will feel very happy about that. His 7th of the season. He's been playing at stand-up half recently, but he was in the right place at the right time then.
It doesn't really put into perspective, really, the performance of this Wigan side, because Bradford, one way or the other, have still scored points to get back in there or be in with some form of chance. But it really has been a magic performance by Wigan. Their team have really played well. Their backing up and their support of the man in possession has really done well. Bradford will rue some of their tactics in this game.
David Hobbs just ruined the fact he couldn't convert Marchant's try.
Let's just watch this ball now. It comes out. Now Hobbs takes that ball very wide. Look, the whole of the Wigan defence has come up. Bradford swooping forward, so the defence have to turn round. That loses them time. Marchant doesn't have to turn. He collects and scores in the corner.
Two minutes to go. Paul Gratian for Bradford. But I think they're a beaten side now at 28-18. Nonetheless, they've kept going. They've not let their heads go down. And typical of that is the fact that they've scored the last 2 tries in the game. They look to get a third one now. Itty. Summers. Here's Itty. There goes Anderson. Can't get past Lydon's excellent tackle. Joe Lydon's had a good game in the centre for Wigan. It's a long, long ball from Itty to Simpson, who's still going. Always interest in the game when Roger Simpson has the ball. And a penalty is going to be given for Bradford here for offside, and Bradford will seek to utilise some space quickly. Hobbs took it from Barraclough. They've got space coming up on the right-hand side. He's cornered. If he holds on, he scores. The referee gives the try to Gerald Cordell, and he marks his comeback with a score.
Well, this is quite amazing, really. I mean, they took a quick tap penalty. Hobbs again with a perfectly timed pass. But look at this pass here now, out to give Cordell his opportunity, and he doesn't need more of those. He knows how disappointed he has been at times. He scores a great try.
He'll feel a bit happier now. David Hobbs has had some really tricky kicks to try and negotiate, and this is none less tricky than the rest, but it just fades away. they've cut the deficit to a very respectable 6 points.
Well, it's quite amazing, really, because they really looked as if they were being torn apart, but they battled away, really. That's what can be said against a very polished Wigan outfit. But it just goes to show that if you do battle away and continue to do just that, you can still be in with a chance, and that's what Bradford have kept hanging on to. Well, there's no one who's left the stadium yet, I can assure you. It's pulsating here. I mean, the excitement has been tremendous. It's been from end-to-end stuff, and 10 tries.
There goes a fire. Just got outside his own 25. If he'd have broken that tackle, I think would have been just about shouting him over the line now. The victory then for Wigan by 28 points to 22. A game of great value, and full credit to Bradford Northern for their part in it. They made a great fighting comeback towards the end with the last 3 tries, but they'd left their challenge too late. Sean Edwards, undoubtedly the man who led Wigan to victory today. David, your feelings?
Well, the thing is this, the domination by Edwards at half-back was really the key factor in this game. That and his awareness in general to be in the right place at the right time, and his try-scoring ability when he put them ahead for the first time really sums it all up. He's the difference between the two sides.
And here are the details. Bradford Northern 22 points with 2 tries from Medley and 1 each from Shelford, Marchant and Caudle, 1 goal from Hobbs. Wigan 28, McGinty, Edwards 2, Betts and a fire on their try sheet, and 4 goals from Franu Botica turn out to be the difference.
You were very much a central figure in one of 2 controversial incidents. First of all, the try that you scored when a lot of people thought there'd been a knock-on.
Well, you get away with what you can, you know. I mean, the referee saw it as he interpreted it, and you know, he just let play go on.
Did he touch the ball though?
I'll leave that to the viewers on tonight.
Yeah. What about the try that Sean Edwards was given after Martin Fire sort of put him
Well,
through?
it's the same situation again. There was a bit of controversy over that, but the referee interpreted it in the way he actually saw the situation happen, and you know, he makes the decision on that spot. If he gives a try, he gives a try. If he disallows it, he disallows it.
Martin, just describe the feeling when you got over for that try.
I think relief, or imagination, just great relief, obviously. Obviously, I've got a lot of pressure on myself as well, but I think, you know, obviously people, you know, spectators and people generally, you know, the longer it went on without me scoring, you know, the more it became an issue, so I'm glad I've just got that out of the way.
How long do you think it will be before Wigan sees the best of Martin Fire?
I think it's obviously going to take a while. I mean, this is my first full 80 minutes for, you know, how many months. And I feel that the more games I get under my belt and come out unscathed, the better I'll be. So hopefully, you know, come you know, February, you know, I should be really hitting my stride.
These are the match facts. Of 14 scrums, Bradford healed 5 and Wigan 9. Neither hooker took 1 against the head. Wigan actually conceded 4 penalties in a minute when they were under siege. In all, they gave away 11 and Bradford conceded 8. The error count went up considerably in the second half, inevitably perhaps in a hectic finish. Bradford eventually made 9 handling errors, Wigan 11.
A triple sending off at St Helens. Sonny Nicol departs with Featherstone's Andy Fisher and Trevor Clark in injury time. Saints win. 12-man Warrington thrash Hull after Gary Sanderson's red card for a high tackle. Halifax's Greg Austin keeps up the chase behind Sean Edwards at the top of the try-scorers list, a hat-trick at Swinton. And at Weldon Road, Castleford, back to form at Widnes last week, faced the Regal Trophy semi-finalists Salford.
Now, how's this for a daft try? Martin Burkitt fields Graham Stedman's kick, but why and why did he try to pass to Steve Gibson? Simon Middleton didn't ask, he simply scored. No conversion from Lee Crooks, but he'd added a penalty by the time he figured on the try sheet, courtesy of Graham Southernwood's sleight of hand. With his goal, Crooks had contributed 8 of Castleford's 12 points. He'd extended his personal haul with another penalty too, by the time Salford troubled the scoreboard operator. David Fell doing the spadework for Arthur Bradshaw to exploit a gap in Castleford's defence. Burkitt's goal made it 14-6. Now this is a quality try. Lee Crooks gets St John Ellis skipping and weaving through the Salford defence, and Ellis rounds it all off like the good international player he is to send Castleford into the break well in command. 20 points to 6 in front after Crooks' 4th goal. So everything coming up roses for the Great Britain hop forward.
Well, not quite. Early in the second half, it was his pass that went to ground and sent Burkitt tearing away with that lovely feeling that nothing was going to stop him. Nothing did. And when Burkitt had got his breath back, he tapped on the goal to reduce the deficit to just 8 points at 2012. But that was the limit of Salford's recovery. Steadman showed all the dash and verve that makes him one of the most exciting players in the game to seal it for Cass. And Crooks' goal simply made the victory all the more emphatic at 26 points to 12.
The results then: Bradford 22, Wigan 28, Castleford 26, Salford 12. Hull 6, Warrington 32, St Helens 28, Featherstone 10, Swinton 4, Halifax 32. Wigan remain a point clear. St Helens overtake Leeds, but they've played 3 more than the losing Regal Trophy finalists. Castleford remain 4th, 5 points off the lead. Swinton are doomed at the bottom, but who else goes down is hard as ever to predict. Fingers are starting to point at Featherstone, but they've confounded the experts before. In Division 2, 38 points for John Woods to equal his own League club record set 14 years ago. And Darryl Powell's hat-trick at Oldham keeps Sheffield in the hunt. 3 results in all: Lee 70, Rydale York 0. Oldham 18, Sheffield 44. Rochdale 12, London 32. So Lee remain 3 points clear of Sheffield, who've now opened up a 5-point lead over Oldham. London, denied 3rd place only on points difference, have a game in hand on Oldham. And in Division 3, Roy Dickinson's Bramley go to the top with their 6th win in a row. A full check for you: Barrow 50, Chorley 11. Batley 22, Highfield 8. Keighley 7, Bramley 10. Nottingham 0, Dewsbury 58. Scarborough 12, Hunslet 24. Trafford 14, Doncaster 18. Bramley are top for the first time, closely pursued by Hunslet, Dewsbury and Huddersfield, who now have games in hand of all the other leaders. In the Challenge Cup preliminary round, Wakefield's blonde Australian Jeff Bagnall saw his pass intercepted by Stuart Cocker for Huddersfield. The 3rd Division side were already in front from an early penalty. Cocker had time to celebrate before crossing the line. Jason Gilbert's conversion, and the 1st Division team were 8-0 down. They had cause to be very grateful that Michael Jackson is back to full fitness and back to the storming form that took him into the Great Britain team in the autumn. That was converted, and a subsequent penalty from Mark Conway levelled the scores at 8-all. Would the visitors fold? Not a bit of it. They went back in front through Gilbert's boot. But 2 Wakefield tries immediately before half-time asserted a little 1st Division superiority after a sin-binning reduced Huddersfield to 12 men. First, Andy Mason's pass sent in David Jones. Deep into injury time at the break, Mason turned scorer himself from Conway's huge pass. The first try was converted, the second wasn't. Wakefield 18-10 ahead at half-time. Early in the second half, John Glancy feeding Andy Wilson, 22-10. But still Huddersfield weren't finished. Brian McKebby, the winger Alex Murphy signed from his old club St Helens to break the Fartown transfer record, made it 22-14. And Greg Shuttleworth's kick found the much-admired Aussie fullback Wally Gibson racing clear. Both conversions were missed, but there were only 4 points in it. Wakefield's extra strength just about saw them through. Substitute Chris Perry shrugged off all his would-be tacklers to extend the lead. And in the final minutes, Phil Eden completed a full try-scoring set for the 3 quarters to confirm Wakefield's place in the first round proper. So your Challenge Cup preliminary round scoreboard reads Kells 17, Hull Dockers 14, and Wakefield 32, Huddersfield 18. Well, now the scrum down jigsaw, and your chance to win the Great Britain shirt worn by your favourite player against Papua New Guinea in the autumn. You need to identify this current rugby league player. The last one was Hull's John Sharp, you may remember. His mum didn't spot him, and nor did he. He thought it was Terry Flanagan. Anyway, if you've got this one, here's the address. Scrum Down Competition, Yorkshire Television, Kirkstall Road, Leeds, LS3 1JS. The first correct entry drawn out wins a Great Britain shirt with a number of your choice. Scrumdown competition, Yorkshire Television, Kirkstall Road, Leeds, LS3 1JS. And if no one gets it, we'll have more pieces next week when we're at Knowsley Road to see St Helens and Wakefield. Both winners today, along with Wigan, thanks to last season's top try scorer and this season's, Martin Afire and Sean Edwards. Good night.
Scrumdown and Stones Bitter.